Hello, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule for this first ASQ Quality Talk. We are grateful to our sponsor, ETQ, and very excited to discuss this timely topic. Today we'll begin with a poll. Beneath your live stream, you'll be able to answer the poll and ask any questions that you may have for Diptesh. Hello, I'm Jen Swanson, ASQ's Director of Marketing and Communications. For this inaugural event, I'll be discussing emerging trends and technologies shaping the future of manufacturing and quality 4.0 with Diptesh Shah, ETQ's Executive Director, AI ML Strategy. We'll also explore how AI is revolutionizing the quality space by automating workflows, surfacing actionable insights, and enabling predictive decision making across all levels of the organization.
Hey, thank you, Jen, and thanks to everyone for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time to be here today. So, as Jen mentioned, my name is Diptesh Shah, Executive Director of AI ML Product Strategy at ETQ. Just a little blurb about my background. My roots actually lie in engineering, and I spent the better part of 16 years building enterprise software solutions for various industries before moving into product management. And that technical foundation has proven to be incredibly valuable in many ways, including helping me cut through the noise that often surrounds emerging technologies like AI and really get into the nuts and bolts of how to use them to solve actual problems and deliver measurable business value. And so I've been fortunate enough to have had the opportunity to build and lead AI and analytics teams at multiple organizations, really shaping how they're applied and integrated responsibly to drive impact. And here at ETQ, my focus is on bringing that same mindset to quality management, right? Using AI to create those true wow moments for manufacturers where they realize greater operational efficiency and productivity while at the same time boosting product quality. So, hey, let's get into it, shall we?
Yeah, Divtesh, thank you so much for agreeing to discuss these developing issues with quality professionals. There's been a considerable discussion over the past several years about quality 4.0 in smart
Mhm.
manufacturing and many ideas about what was expected. I'd like to begin by asking you to describe the original promise of quality 4.0 in smart manufacturing and whether you believe this promise has been achieved.
Yeah. Well, so when Industry 4.0, which really encompasses smart manufacturing as well as Quality 4.0, when that first came on the scene, the big promise was all about modernization. The idea was to digitize equipment, connect systems, and bring data together so manufacturers could finally see what was happening across their operations in real time. And to be fair, I'd say a lot of that promise has been delivered, right? Many organizations now have unprecedented visibility into their manufacturing value chain, all the way from the shop floor to their enterprise systems. But I don't think we fully realize the potential of all the investment that's gone into that digital transformation. Over the past decade, manufacturers have spent heavily on things like sensors, automation, connecting those systems, data infrastructure. And they've done a great job in building that digital foundation. But the challenge is that much of the data coming out of those systems is still being used primarily for monitoring and reporting, rather than for driving smarter decisions or taking proactive action. And the real opportunity now, Jen, I believe, really is to go beyond visibility. It's to start mining that data meaningfully. And that's where AI truly starts to change the game. Instead of just tracking what's happened, AI can help us understand why it happened, predict what's likely to happen next, and even recommend what to do about it. So I would say if the first decade or so of industry and quality 4.0 was really about connecting systems and collecting data to gain visibility, the next chapter is really all about unlocking intelligence from it, turning that data into actionable knowledge that drives smarter, more proactive decisions and continuous improvement across the manufacturing operations, and rather than just provide reactive oversight.
And while you're answering the poll question, how should we be thinking differently about leveraging data today compared to the past?
Those are a great point. So for a long time, and actually, honestly, even today, I would say most organizations have approached data with a consolidation mindset. Companies have spent years and often millions building massive data warehouses or data lakes, and then layering BI tools on top to basically create reports and dashboards, and speaking to that visibility. And while that model delivered value, in some cases a little, in some cases a good amount, it also created a lot of friction. It was expensive, slow, and really often sat disconnected from real-time operations, which is where the decisions actually need to happen, right? And so today, AI and machine learning have completely disrupted that paradigm. We don't necessarily need to move all of our data into one place to be able to extract insights. Instead, we can let the data live where it naturally resides, in your systems, in documents, even those sensors, and use AI to reach into those sources to analyze, learn, and act. Um, Now, you'll hear terms like AI knowledge bases or knowledge graphs, right, used to describe this new approach. And while those do connect information, they're not warehouses in the traditional sense. They act more like maps, or think of it as connective tissue, even linking context and meaning across distributed data, rather than having to copy it into yet another storage layer. So it's really a shift from data collection to data activation. And when you do that, you create a far more agile and intelligent ecosystem, one where insights are generated in place and decisions can happen faster, but more importantly, also right where the work actually occurs.
Wonderful. And we've got another poll question here. Thank you to everybody for participating in these. So, Deeptesh, I'll give you another question while everybody's finishing up this poll. So, how
Sure.
does this apply to quality manufacturing systems or in your specific domain?
Hi. Well, again, great question. And I'll speak specifically to how it applies to quality management systems, because that is my domain. So modern quality systems like ETQ Reliance have done a great job at digitizing processes, right? Capturing data, routing workflows, supporting audit and compliance needs. But the real leap forward comes when those systems start to think with you, not just record what you're doing or what you did. And based on, I mean, I can't even count, right? Countless conversations with manufacturers I've had across the globe, as well as through extensive user research, I really see four key areas where AI can deliver measurable value in the form of boosting productivity, preventing costly errors, accelerating compliance, lowering the cost of quality, and even unlocking new opportunities for growth. And so, what are those areas? So, the first one, workflow optimization. Okay, here AI is helping to take on the manual, repetitive, kind of low value work that slow teams down, like things like data entry, or searching for information, or having to translate content across different languages. So AI, for example, can intelligently suggest what to fill in when you're working through a form, right, or entering data. It can enable natural language search, so it's much easier to get at the information you need instantaneously. It can summarize large amounts of information, so you're not having to wade through it and figure out what this all means, right? The context can be given to you. And it can translate content in real time so teams can collaborate, again, seamlessly. So, all in all, the result is really reduced cycle times and higher productivity. So, that's a key area. Following that, secondly, I would say decision intelligence. This is about AI helping teams make faster, data driven decisions. For example, it can analyze complaints, CAPAs, and non-conformance data altogether to identify recurring issues, and then subsequently recommend proven corrective actions and highlight where similar problems have appeared before, right? So that really helps improve root cause analysis makes the whole process more consistent. There's traceability. And again, at the end of the day, the faster and more accurate decisions you make, the better off you're going to be. Third, same thing around intelligence, but more focused on regulatory and compliance need. So here, AI makes compliance simpler and more proactive, mapping changing regulations to your internal documented procedures, flagging where said documentation or perhaps training needs updates, and generating audit-ready summaries that link requirements back to the evidence. All in all, it's reducing that audit prep time, preventing gaps, and ultimately lowering the risk of penalties or reputational damage. Having that kind of continuous audit readiness posture, incredibly valuable. And then finally, that fourth area, proactive risk management. Okay. AI can really help organizations move from reacting to anticipating by connecting the dots within and across your quality and operational data. It can spot patterns that signal potential issues before they actually disrupt operations. And early intervention means fewer surprises, right? Less scrap and waste, as well as measurable reduction in the overall cost of quality. And altogether, I would say the advancements in these four areas, especially with the help of AI, mark the evolution of quality management systems from a passive system of record to a active system of intelligence, one that amplifies human expertise. Definitely does not replace it. I got to be, if I hadn't said it before, and I don't think I did, right? AI is not a replacement for all of the expertise that us humans bring, as well as the knowledge, but it can amplify that. It can support it. And that's where the true value lies.
Wonderful. I mean, they promised us flying cars, but I think I'll take AI any day. So, absolutely. So we've got another poll question, and while people are answering that, can you talk how to practically implement AI in your organization?
Yes, yes, absolutely. So most folks will think AI, and it's a technical challenge, right? A technical problem. Well, implementing AI isn't just a technical exercise, right? In fact, actually, the technology, as it's evolving and expanding at lightning speed, the technology itself is often the easier part nowadays. The real challenge actually is in making sure that AI is used responsibly, ethically, in a way that people can trust. And so, what that really means is establishing an AI center of excellence, or COE for short, that brings together the right mix of legal, ethical, as well as technical expertise. And that COE sets the standards for how we design, validate, and deploy AI, right? Defining common frameworks, ensuring responsible for governance, and enabling teams across the company to adopt AI confidently and consistently. In short, it turns AI from a set of projects into really what would be considered an organizational capability. And here at ETQ, and again, this concept of COE is one that I've used, implemented successfully in prior to my role here at ETQ, and hence have brought it here. And just specifically there, our COE includes representation from product, engineering, operations, security and privacy, compliance, legal, and I'm sure I'm missing a few more, all working together to make sure our AI initiatives are both innovative and responsible. So, and I mean that sounds great, but to make that real in practice, you actually need an AI operating model as well, right? And we built one which is focused really around three key pillars. The first is policy and ethics. This defines the principles for transparency, fairness, explainability, and aligns us with standards like the EU AI Act or ISO 42001. The second is validation and compliance. So this ensures that our AI ML models and processes meet regulatory as well as operational expectations. Again, there's some great frameworks out there, such as the NIST AI risk management framework, as well as ISO 23894 for AI risk management, as well as GAMP5 for AI ML systems in regulated environments, right? So this whole, this pillar really makes sure that we're aligned with such frameworks, depending again, what industries you're in or you're serving, which are applicable. And in our case, all of these are. And also, we can't forget about vendor customer agreements, right? That govern data use, transparency, as well as accountability. So that validation and compliance, key part. And then third, enablement and delivery. Okay, this is all about equipping teams with playbooks or runbooks, toolkits, all based off of best practices, so that AI can be implemented safely, effectively, and at scale. And it's really what bridges the governance with execution. Um, and what's also important rather, is that this model applies not only to the AI capabilities we build into our products, but also to how we use AI internally, right? From productivity tools to out of process automation, anything that we're using internally, it's the same disciplined, responsible approach, right? Across both dimensions, and ultimately ensuring that AI is delivering real value while also maintaining trust.
Amazing.
Yeah, again, like I said, most people just look at AI. It's like it's a technical challenge. We're going to throw a lot of technical horsepower against. No, it's a much bigger thing than that. But again, when done right and done well, it
Abs-
could really again lead to those wow type moments.
Absolutely. And is there anything specifically today that you're doing to help implement this?
Oh yeah, you mean yeah at ETQ? Yeah, I can definitely dive in to again make this maybe more real or more concrete. So earlier we talked about the four key areas, right, where AI could transform quality management: workflow optimization, decision intelligence, compliance intelligence, and proactive risk management. And so what we're doing at ETQ is really putting that into action, but doing it through a methodical, user research-driven approach to make sure we're targeting the right use cases, right, solving the right problems, and doing it in a way that aligns with the responsible AI and compliance principles I just spoke about. But let me give you some actual specifics. So earlier this year, we launched our predictive quality analytics solution, to help manufacturers shift from basically having to firefight production quality issues, shift from that to being able to prevent them. Right? The solution integrates like your process and sensor data from your production or shop floor, along with your quality data in Reliance to predict production risks before they result in things like waste or scrap or unplanned downtime. As a great example, by continuously analyzing sensor signals, the system can detect when a machine is starting to show or a piece of equipment is starting to show early signs of calibration drift, and then automatically trigger a preventative action, allowing teams to address it before any non-conforming product is made. Now that's proactive risk and quality management, right? That's what it looks like. And there's so many other examples where that kind of solution can drive significant value. Next, in the area of workflow optimization, we have what we call Form Field Advisor, which uses generative AI to recommend field values and help users complete forms more quickly and accurately, cutting down on that manual data entry, and reducing the kinds of errors that lead to rework and longer cycle times. We're also actively pursuing additional capabilities in this area, such as AI-powered translation, right, to help global teams collaborate and work more effectively. Along with that, again, AI-powered or driven summarization, specifically targeted towards complaints or customer feedback, all to accelerate how teams investigate and act on the feedback that they receive from their customers, right? The quicker that you can understand what they're trying to convey to you and understand what the next step or action should be, the better off you're going to be. And when information is coming at you in so many different formats, through emails, through attachments like Word documents, PDFs, let alone images. Actually, those are classic, right? Here's my issue. Here's an image of a part that doesn't necessarily meet spec, or it's a box that's half empty. Right? Okay, well, maybe they're trying to say I didn't get everything I was supposed to. So AI, again, that's just one example. But being able to process all of that different forms of information and provide that summary to somebody who's actually working that complaint is invaluable. Along with being able to surface similar complaints or issues that have already come through. Why waste or duplicate effort when you don't have to, right? So again, all focused there around workflow optimization. And then there's more in the pipeline, especially in the decision intelligence space, like providing real recommendations on what actions to take, right? Next in response to a quality event, as well as introducing natural language analytics that lets users ask questions in plain language and instantly get relevant insights, or even have the system auto-generate visuals like trend charts. Now, obviously, there's a lot more I could go into, and I don't think we have the time here. But I'll close with this, though. Everything we're doing is part of a holistic collaborative approach. And by that, I mean, through our design partnership programs, we work with customers and our end users right from the get-go, right from the ideation stage, co-developing and refining concepts based on real-world workflows and pain points. And then through things we call like our early adopter or early access programs, we worked with select customers and users to validate those capabilities in their production environments, right? To ensure that they deliver measurable business value. And we're fortunate, quite frankly, to have customers who embrace this kind of partnership, not just as users, but as true collaborators. But mind you, if any of you are ETQ customers and are attending this, we're always looking for more who want to help shape what comes next. So please do reach out.
It's
I,
such an
I had
exciting.
to put that plug in there. There, it is. It is. Thank you, Jen.
Absolutely, it's such an exciting time. Do you wanna open it up for some audience questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Alright, we've got the first one is, could you provide some examples of AI tools that you have experience using?
Oh, yeah. I mean, all the way from obviously we all know things like ChatGPT, right, for helping you become more productive at your day-to-day things. Now, mind you, I will put it out there, folks. Do not put confidential, especially company information or even true personal information into ChatGPT or public. If you were talking about from a professional standpoint, right, always it's very actually simple to bring a kind of chat GPT like interface in house, which would help all forms of folks, right? Ranging from folks that are on the shop floor to folks that are at the executive level. Get at information, be able to help tailor communications, be able to put together presentations and things of that nature. So I think that's a vital tool. Number two, again, considering we're basically a software company, and as I told you what my background was, there's a great AI tools out there that can actually help really accelerate software development. So that's completely going outside of the manufacturing realm. But again, the whole point here is it can actually intelligently put together products, perhaps even design specifications, which actually I have seen those. I haven't personally used it, but I have seen AI tools that will actually, you basically tell it what kind of product you want or what kind of part you want, put some parameters or constraints around it, and it will come out with a design specification for you. Wow, that's a great question because there's so many tools that I've used over time. But really, it's about product. For me, it was all about productivity gains, right? How do I use AI to help me make more productive? And so, yeah, that's where basically my focus has been on a personal usage basis.
I love that. We've got another question. Can you provide an example of how AI can be used in a corrective and preventative action process? And how about Lean Six Sigma?
Yeah, so yeah, that example that I provided, right, even with like the calibration drift, right? So AI, if without AI, look, you would have somebody sitting there looking at all of this data that's coming from the sensors, and then having to make sense of that data, and then really, it's like finding a needle in a haystack in many cases. And so that's where AI can surface that potential issue, right, or that risk before it actually comes to bear and before it actually does lead to negative consequences in what you're producing. And then from there, right, when we talk about corrective and preventive actions, that's exactly what we're saying. AI based off of learnings as well. And I forgot to mention about that solution is not just forecast and trigger an action, but the results of those actions, right? What was done? Did it actually successfully address the problem? That information is fed back into that model as well. And so AI continuously learns from it. And so the next time it sees that type of issue, not only is it going to say, hey, this is going to likely happen, but along with that, this is what we recommend you do to address it before it becomes a really big issue or it disrupts your production operations, right? So yeah, I think AI is perfectly positioned to do exactly that, right? Proactively weed out and identify issues before they come to bear, and then also be able to guide and recommend the steps you should be taking to remediate that.
Wonderful. How can we become an early adopter or gain access to the collaboration efforts?
Oh, all righty. I would give you my personal information right here if I could. No, that's a great question, and I'm hoping actually maybe after we're done with this, we can actually publish that information. But also, I mean, my information, get in touch with me. But if you are again part of the ETQ family already, please just reach out to your customer success representative or your account, basically your account team, and they'll put you in touch with me. And I definitely look forward to it.
Amazing. We also have some questions around privacy concerns using AI.
Mm.
How are business owners and decision makers being convinced about these concerns?
Sure. So I spoke to a number of those compliance or regulatory frameworks. They're not just there for the sake of being there, although quite frankly, some of them are lacking in substance. But the big ones, it absolutely forces you to think through that as a provider of AI-based capabilities, right? For example, like with the EU AI Act, it has a very nice prescriptive risk-based framework to assess your whatever AI capability or product that you're trying to bring to market or trying to um, uh, enable others to use, right? And using that risk framework, it actually can prescribe specifically what types of controls and things of that nature, both from a security perspective as well as a privacy perspective. And quite frankly, I mean, I'm sure we have a global audience here. And no offense to those that reside in the United States or North America, but we're behind when it comes to data privacy, right? The EU is ahead of us. Like GDPR came out well, and look, the EU AI Act is the first I think actually codified regulation as well as prescriptive guidance around how to deal with AI and deal with these types of potential issues. And it's been great. I've been actually following that act since the moment it came up. And then again, following from there, you've got these other standards that you have to be in compliance with. Like for example, ETQ has to, given that we serve so many regulated industries. And there, those same type of security controls and protocols with regards to, hey, protecting against data leakage, right? They apply. Now, there's an application to it to an AI standpoint where you can absolutely silo any information that's given to it to say that's only pertinent or only applicable for this particular environment or this particular customer or even this particular user. And those controls have to be in there, and they are, right, from anything that we do right from the get-go. And just to end on that, for those that have gone through the journey of moving from pure on-premise software and storing all the information locally to running your critical business applications in the cloud, and in essence, putting all of your key IP and key data into the cloud, it's the same concept here. And I truly understand, right, the hesitation, because there was a lot of hesitation when SaaS came first about and cloud solutions came about. But then as, again, we had proven over and over with evidence that your data is your data. It is secure. It is not being leaked. And this is why, or this is how. The same thing applies here to AI. And again, the good news is those frameworks and those procedures are already there. It's just make it behooves folks like, well, ETQ to make sure that those are implemented.
Oh, that's amazing. That's all the time we have for questions. There are several more in the chat,
Oh,
but they'll get answered with, I know, they'll get
oh.
answered and the answers will be published along with the recording. Thank you so much for joining us today, Diptesh. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Oh, likewise. No, this was a joy. Thank you, Jennifer. And again, thank you to everybody who attended. And I promise we'll definitely get back to any and all questions that we didn't have time to answer today.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all. I'm Jen Swanson for this Quality Talk.